Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon to everybody. I must, before I start formally this session, I must thank uh, our Director Research, who has given me this opportunity to talk before you all and interact before you all, and also to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, whose visionary leadership has made our university to upload more than 150 around lectures on our YouTube, our website, and many such programs are being conducted for veterinary, dairy, and fisheries. And our Dean, Dr. Saini, has also taken a lot of initiative in bringing international experts and interacting with our students. There have been 2-3 seminars by international experts who have taken their classes. Students were present. So this is a good, I think, utilization of time. We all know that we are under a lot of stress. We are working. Whole world is suffering due to pandemic, COVID-19 these issues. So we all are facing that problem. But there are a lot of, we all know that in adversaries, many good things also come out. So in that situation, we have organized so many things for the benefit of the professionals, fisheries, and also students. So in this line only. Sorry, in between it is getting disconnected. So this is the issues. Now our country is also understanding how our this data, our internet services should be village oriented and rural oriented. So in this, maybe in between, if it gets disconnected, don't worry, we will again connect ourselves. So friends, before I start, I think already sir has introduced me. And you all know me very well. I did my BFSC from my College of Fisheries, Mangalore, and master degree also from there, PhD from Rajasthan Agriculture University. And then I served 7 years in Rajasthan Agriculture University as assistant professor in limnology. Then I joined as associate professor in the Faculty of Fishery Science, West Bengal University of Animal Fishery Science, there Calcutta. And there I served as associate professor, and from 2006 as professor and head I was there. So you already, sir has told that I have handled one mega project under NICRA, climate resilient aquaculture strategies for Sundarban. That was mainly for coastal areas. But we all know that the issues of climate change, now it is not hidden. Many of us know that. Now I will just share my slides, and then already I think you all have seen my presentations. Already 1 minute. This. So many of things you know that about climate change, the world, how it is facing, and this all. There are many theories now about regarding this COVID also, this virus. And they say that because of people's greed, they tried to cut the forest, they went inside the forest, then caves, and from there we all know that China is one of the biggest market of these wild animals, and from there they started exploiting these wild animals, and from there. So this is all may not be directly related to climate, also related to what we leading to the climate change. So our activities, our greed, and from there this many wild animals, from there this virus has emerged. And we all know that wild animal trade is one of the largest, very costly trade. And United States, many Western countries are using these wild animals for their food purpose. And that has led to this virus and now what we are facing. So, but nevertheless, though society, countries facing, but I must also know that our whole country is unitedly fighting against that. Now, this is the time we are seeing that whole society is united and they are trying to overcome the adversaries through different means. And this is one of the means today we are presenting before you. So, without taking much time, I will just like to brief. My whole presentation will be around 40 minutes. And then in that, a little bit about what is climate change, what are the things, because there are many students also here. So for them, and then what are the issues related to climate change, and then what are the strategies which we need to follow. And my focus, because I have been working in Bihar, so I have some data of Bihar and Bengal. So those data only with those figures, examples, I will try to talk here and present before you. And then what should be our future strategy for that? So that in coming farmers suffer due to climate change. So we all know that this whole livelihood of millions people depend on the fisheries. That we all know that. And one very important thing is the more than 4 to 5 billion people get at least 15% of their average per capita intake of animal protein from fish. We all know the fish is the basic, one of the major source of protein. So that is one of the main thing which we must highlight also. And in fact, I have been highlighting that fish as healthful to now. And then we all know that Indian fisheries third in fisheries and second in aquaculture. And contribution of fisheries to GDP 1.07%, and contribution to agriculture GDP 5.84%. These all are known to you. I will not deal detail about the data. Then present scenario of fish production. That present fish production, total fish production 1890, it is 13.7 million metric ton. Then see the 11-fold increase that India has achieved from 1950 to 51 to 1919. From 0.75 million ton to 13.7 million ton, which is not a small achievement. So much achievement we have made in this area. And in case of inland production also, we all know that contribution of inland fish production to the total fish production has been increased. Now about 70% is being contributed by inland fish production. And this already I told you about contribution to global fish production and GDP. Then some facts we must know also. These are the facts. You all know that ever increasing global population, ever increasing demand for food. Production is struggling to keep up as crop yields are almost stagnant. We all know that from agriculture is almost stagnant. But demand is increased. That's what I've been telling. This pandemic, COVID, this has also brought opportunity for fisheries sector. And we all know that now you go to market, fish cost is very high. And then, so there are opportunity. Maybe just now in the month of May, it may not be that much. But maybe June, you will find that sudden demand in fish. And so fish means food demand when increasing, fish is able to supply that or fill the gap. Then ocean condition is declining. We all know that it's acidification and all these things. We know that. Then natural resources and biodiversity are shrinking. 1 in 9 people suffer from chronic hunger, and 12.9% of population in developed countries are undernourished. So these are all facts. We all need to produce about 70% more food in 2050 to feed an estimated 9 million people. And then climate change is another this one. Then another few terminology you must know. One is what is climate change? I think many of you must be knowing also. I just want to brush your memory. A change in the state of the climate that can be identified by change in the mean or the variability of the properties that persist for an extended period. Means 1 decade. At least we take it 1 decade. Significant change, any change in the properties over 1 decade is done by climate change. Now, the minimum 1 decade, more than that also they are taken. And climate extreme, this also we must understand. like we all know the cyclone, super cyclone, all these are climate extremes. So these extreme weather or climate events, occurrence of value of a weather or climate variable above or below a threshold. So whether temperature goes down the threshold, below the threshold, or above the threshold value. So this becomes extreme, climate extreme. Then adaptation, we all know that process of there are two terms we must understand. One is adaptation, another is resilience. Adaptation means process of adjustment. We adapt to certain conditions. I go to Tripura, I adapt to certain conditions there and then stay there. So adaptation is part of our whole, but resilience is not day-to-day part. We can adjust, but system has to be artificially made resilient. Adaptation, naturally it may happen, but resilience has to be made by some interventions. Okay, so that's what we will talk today. The ability of system and its component which anticipate, absorb, accommodate, or recover from the any possible hazardous events in a timely and efficient manner. Now, one thing I just want to say here: we all know that climate change is happening. The environmental condition is deteriorating. There is no doubt about that. I don't think any. Maybe pace of that change is maybe your thinking, some other scientists thinking, group of people may be varying. But there is no doubt that there is change coming. We are feeling also. Okay. But now thing is that suppose your pond is there, cyclone will come, super cyclone may come, there may be outside water entering to the pond, then escaping of the fishes. All these things will become part and parcel of your day-to-day in coming years. Now, so what I mean to say, any extreme events may lead to loss of your production system. Okay, loss will be there. You cannot remove that loss. But if you are making the system resilient, the loss can be minimized. That's what we are trying to bring it here. That there will be loss. There is no denial of that. Climate extreme will be coming. There will be, you can say, natural calamities, hazards. All these are coming. It will be coming. There is no denial of it. Already IPCC reports say that. But through this resilience system, we can make the system more resilient, or which can minimize the loss. That's what I mean to say. Suppose a poor family has got certain system, developed system, farmers have developed that system, loss will be minimum. If that resilience would not have been developed, then loss would have been still more. So that's what we say, returning quickly from kind of disaster. So if your system is resilient, it will bounce back easily. Okay, bouncing back easily. If it is not resilient, it will suffer. Okay, capable of returning to normal. So resilience means you have the capacity to make it return to normal as quick as possible. I'll give you my own example. Okay, see, this is one I just first let me tell, then I'll come to my example. See, this IPCC report assessment 2014 says that during 1970 to 2000, greenhouse gas emission increased at 1.3%. But during 2000 to 2007 at 12, you see it increased at a rate of 2.2%. And 40% of this increase is from Asia and mostly from India. So just see, initially the emission rate was low, but now the emission rate is increasing. And mostly it is coming from India and Asian countries. So that shows that our climate is affecting our country. Okay. And so the effect will have to be borne by us. Now these are some of the salient findings of IPCC report. Stress due to increased temperature and oxygen demand, stress is increasing. Uncertain supplies of water and water stress, changes in monsoonal pattern and extreme weather events, sea level rise, increased frequency of disease and toxic events, uncertain supplies of fish meal from captured fisheries, changes in hydrological regions, inland waters, deterioration in water quality, socio-economic impact. All these impacts IPCC has forecasted. Now, of the climatic variables affecting our fisheries sector. Now cyclone, storm surge, flooding, rise in sea level, salinity intrusion, temperature, drought, all this. So that is leading to escape of fish stock, ingression of saline water into the freshwater pond, mortality of freshwater fishes, entry of unwanted fishes, breach of pond dike, growth retardation, damage of pond environment, pH fluctuation, deterioration of water quality, increase in pond salinity, and rising disease outbreaks. These are the impacts what we are facing due to climatic variables and changes. Now we can summarize this effect. Warming of the Earth's surface by approximately 0.85 degrees Celsius in last 150 years. They say, some people say it is around 1 degree Celsius in last 150 years. Increase in temperature and frequency of hot days and nights. This is also it is being faced. Likely increase in the frequency of heat waves. It is increasing. Possible increase in intensity or duration of droughts. So heat wave frequency is increasing. Drought intensity also increasing, heavy rainfall, floods also coming, and then cyclonic activities. All these are leading to adverse effect on our fishery sector. Increase in ocean acidification. We all know that because of the carbon dioxide, and this because ocean is a great mitigator of our global warming. It absorbs carbon dioxide, and because of that pH is decreasing, acidification. Changes in salinity due to change in evaporation, precipitation, and then global average sea level rise. These all are happening. I did some work during my this NICRA project, and one of the outcome I'm just telling you, farmers, when we ask the farmers what are the effect what you are facing. So majority of farmers say that during extreme events, flooding and cyclone, when saline water or nearby water gets into the their freshwater ponds, so their fish gets escaped. Then that is the majority of farmers, they say. Then another very important finding was that ingression of saline water ingression, entry of other fish species, and then breach of pond dike. So these are the 4 top effects of any flooding which we are facing, farmers we are facing. Now I have given some figure about Bihar, forget about this. When you talk with some examples, I will try to just explain to you in fishery sector how it is affecting. Temperature. First, let us talk about temperature. Based on temperature time series, for 1951 to 2010 annual mean temperature showing an increasing trend from 1951 to 2010 by 0.01 degrees Celsius. If you are taking large time gap data, then daily minimum temperature has increased by 0.6 to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And December, January is in different pockets of Bihar is facing severe, especially rise in temperature, the winter, and also decline in temperature. And temperature effect, it is the performance. We all know that in temperate areas, increasing temperature could bring the advantage of faster growth rates and longer growing seasons. So, where temperate climate is there, any increase in temperature has got positive effect. But we all know that all Indian major crops has got some growth range. If it is beyond or above the growth range, temperature range, then it will have adverse effect. Then breeding season also. There has been some study about the shift in breeding season, especially West Bengal. It was temperature. It was found that any alteration in the monsoonal pattern. So we all know that earlier breeding season used to be from June to August, and then rainy season, monsoon season used to be from June to August, June, July, August, these 3 months. But now the rainfall pattern has changed. Instead of these 3 months, we are seeing that rain has started from March, April. Now we all know that especially eastern part, we are facing a lot of rain now, last 15 days. So it has shifted. So this whole maturation, breeding, also it has affected. So this it has been found that which was earlier the breeding season was from this June to August or July. Now it has started it has shifted from June to March. So from March now fish hatcheries have started breeding there. And investigation indicate an extreme breeding condition of Indian major carp by means extended breeding season. It has extended to 40 to 60 days now, which used to be earlier 100 to 110 to 120 days, 160 to 165 days. That SIFRI work, those people who have done SIFRI scientists, they have come out with these findings. So that means the temperature and rainfall effects we are finding. Now drought and flood, frequency of occurrence of floods, we all know that unprecedented floods in Bihar during 2008, even last 2 years there had been flood in Bihar. Now here only I want to say something. When you want to make your system resilient, how it is possible? See, when you design your pond, I'm an academician, but I have also started my own farming in my village. So when we planned our ponds, then we took the data of last 100 years. What was the maximum flood water height last 100 years? So someone said that 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet. So considering that, we just made another 1 feet above that, our outer dikes. So we try to make our system more resilient through that dike, increase in dike height and dike shape also, both. What is your elevation and how much, what is the base width and what is the top width, all these things I will come to that. So I mean to say that when 2012, 2014 there was flood, then also subsequent years there were floods, and Bihar large number of ponds were devastated. They all got inundated. Okay, fish were escaping from that. Fish escaped, but our ponds could not. I still remember from surrounding our ponds. Well, we have now around 100-acre fish farm. So surrounding that 100-acre fish farm, there was full flood water, but it could not enter to our ponds because we made our system more resilient. See, this is the thing what I mean to say. There will be in effect extreme events, but if you make your system resilient, there are many ways how to make it resilient. I will come to that. If you make it resilient, your and draw. So almost every alternate years we are facing flood. So because of that, we have to make our system more resilient. So flood is another. We all know that there are data showing that. I will not go to data. Then water stress means we are also facing shortage of water. Gross per capita water availability in Bihar has declined from about 1,950 cubic meter per year in 2001, and it is estimated that it will come down to 1,170 cubic meter per year in 2050. And every state, this is the fact that water availability per capita water availability is declining, and so water stress is there. So maybe that your ponds, your water bodies may not have that much water available. So what to do that? I will come to that. Then around 20,000, around 21,000 traditional irrigation system of pines, ponds, irrigation ponds exist in Bihar, and out of around that 3,255 are now defunct. So most of the natural points which were used for irrigation purpose or irrigation canals, natural canals, oxbow lakes, all these are now almost defunct, and water is getting lower and lower. And then water stress would result in decreasing water availability, and it will have adverse effect on aquaculture and seed products. This we must remember. Then drought, already I told you, West Bengal, it is said, some example is given. In 2009, the deficit in rainfall was within the range of 25 to 37%. And then especially during breeding months, April to September. So, and these two districts, Bankura and North 24 Pargana, which are mainly they are fish seed producer districts, and there this issue was there. What I mean to say that this drought also is affecting the breeding season. That successful breeding days, that is getting affected. So it has affected the total spawn production, which came down 40 lakh per 100 kg of fish brooder from 130 to 140 lakh. So that this total spawn also production per kg of fish has also come down. Okay, so this is another important aspect. Then high speed winds are almost devastating both for by causing loss of life as well as loss of terms of socio-economic conditions. Now disease also, they say that because of that, some studies have revealed that because of these extreme events, salinity changes, pH changes, acidification and other things. So pH variation is the water quality, and that is leading to outbreak of diseases. Okay. Then because of that eutrophication, water level is increasing, shallower ponds are becoming shallower, and because of that eutrophication also, they say it is happening. Now another very important aspect I want to remind you all. I just say the last paragraph of this. Just see, largely due to sea level rise, it is estimated, and flooding also, sea level rise and flooding. It is estimated that 162 million people globally and 20 million people in India. Just imagine, 162 million people throughout the world and 20 million people in India will be displaced as climatic refugees by 2000. Just imagine if 20 million people are getting affected because of climate changes. And that's what happening, large migration. Why now this we are seeing the laborers coming from different parts to the eastern parts, especially Bengal and Bihar, because there has been migration, because there are areas where there is stay, there has been some stress condition. So they are unable to stay happily in their area. So they are moving to other areas. Especially Sundarban region, we are finding this coastal areas, this is happening more. And then a rapid increase in population density in coastal zones. And so the risk is increasing, vulnerability is increasing. Now, what is the possible climate resilient strategy? Now we all know that what is happening is all we have listed, discussed. Request you discuss whatever questions you have, you can put there, and Dr. Mamta will coordinate that. And at the end, we will have some questions. I will take up some of the questions. Then possible climate resilient strategies. What can be? One strategy will be what I feel. My experience of studying during climatic work, what we have done last 8, 9, 10 years, and my own personal farm, I personally feel that alternative species you have to select. Species like Cyprinus scarpio, Pontius, then other species, I personally, Amur carp, Jayanti rohu, those species, what are the characteristics you have to see? Those species which grow fast, fungaceous, fast, and then grow fast, and also they can withstand the adverse condition. So these are the two characteristics. Those species which are able to tolerate the these wide variations, and also which can grow faster. Such species you have to select now, because adverse condition will come. When adverse condition will come, so only those species which can tolerate, that can survive and also grow there. So such a species, and then you have to select such. Then giving importance to in short culture period. Now, as I told you, drought is there, water level is decreasing, availability of water is decreasing. Now, 15-20 days back or 1 month back, we had another webinar from whole country, and people said that their estates water level is decreasing. In tanks, there is no water, very short is of water. So that is happening. That's why short culture period. So you have to decide in your area, in your zone where you are working, what type of strategy you will take up. Okay. Depending on those areas, what are the choose facing those areas. Accordingly, you have to select the resilience strategy. Okay. So short culture period. This is another strategy you can apply there. 2-4 months of short period. So some of these like Pangasius, Amur carp, and there are other species which grow faster. So you grow up to 250 gram, 300 gram, 400 gram and sell it. You may not keep it for longer duration. Then also some of people where water stress is there, they can have the strategy of seed rearing. So you bring a spawn and culture it for 3 months, make it fingerling and sell it. So that way. So short culture period. Alternative species, the first strategy. Second is culture period. Third is multiple stocking and harvest. So many of you must be knowing, not one time. We all know traditionally we have been stocking in our ponds 1 or twice. That's all. Okay. जून जुलाई में स्टॉक कर दिए और बाद में हम लोग नेक्स्ट ईयर में उसको हार्वेस्ट कर लेंगे और 8-9 महीना के बाद हार्वेस्ट कर लेंगे. वो नहीं है. So you have to harvest those fishes you are stocking. Suppose those fishes which are increasing or growing faster, those fish species you can remove. Suppose we all know that maximum economic yield, if you have studied, so that curve goes there. So initially these fishes their growth is faster, and after maybe 6 months the growth declines. Rate of growth, not growth declines, the rate of growth declines. So what is maximum economic yield that you have to understand, and from there you harvest it. So it becomes 500 grams, 600 grams, 400 grams, you harvest it. Then again stocking. So multiple stocking, multiple harvesting. This is another important. These are some of the fish. This slide may not be there in your what I had said. Gift tilapia, another very important species, gift tilapia, which can be tried here. So many species, new species we can try here. Popda is also there. Clarius nowadays, that is high price. So species you select which faces high price and fast growth. Both you have to. And those which has standard adverse condition. These are the 3-4 things you have to. Anabes is another very important nowadays. Channa is there. So these are the species. I had been to Vietnam last 6 months back. I had gone there, and then I saw there so much of channa culture, breeding and culture. And here also in India, some people have started. So that can be tried here. Then changes in existing cultural pattern and species combination. That's what I mean to say. The existing whatever traditionally we have been doing, IMC or composite fish culture. Please, I personally would like to, especially those who are working in KVKs and fields, I would request you to please bring some changes in culture pattern. Okay, do some trials, experiments, and bring out some innovative ideas, and then see the success. We have done it. We have done in Sundarban, my own farm. We have done it. So some species combinations. Let us see one pond, these 4-5 species, another pond, these 2-3 species, and see what is the result it is coming. So these are the things you have to try. But fish should be harvested at smaller size, as I told you, maximum economic yield. We all work. So a smaller size, maybe for advanced fingerling or yearling you can make and sell it. Okay. Then sometime in wetlands, especially when I talk about Bihar and or Bengal, wetlands are there. So there we can also try cage culture and other things, reservoirs. Then another very important thing which I have already told about my farm, and that's what I'm repeating it, height of pond dike. That should be increased. Fencing and netting. And pond dike also there should be fencing, netting around the pond. And then these are the, I personally feel this is a very key strategy. Okay, resilient strategy. Your pond dike, how much it should be, what should be the height of dike, what should be the base of dike, all this elevation, everything must be 1.1 ratio or 1.2 ratio. That you must own, okay, and decide it. Then land shaping, reclamation, re-excavation of the pond. So your pond also, from dike you can, I will show you some of the photographs, then you will understand this point. Then banking and insurance. If you want to make the system more resilient, people have to, so your whatever stress factors are there, whatever risk factors are there, those have to be taken care. And those risks can be taken care by banking and insurance. So that is required also in this resilient strategy. And drainage and river connectivity, including desilting. As I told you, because of eutrophication, because of many other things, our water bodies are getting shallower and shallower and shallower. So we need to desilt it, and some connectivity, water has to be restored there. Then I just wanted to talk about landscaping and increasing pond height and elevation. This we need to do it. I'll show some. Third point, it is written, step cutting or terracing inward slopes. That is very important. 3-tier system you have to make. This is one photograph I took from some book. Ideally, the distance between watermark and base of the dike should be between 0.6 to 0.9 meter. The dike base and then watermark, it should be 0.6 to 0.9 meter, and it should be never less than 0.5 meter. That you must remember. And then that dike height to be increased to at least 2 to 3 meter above the average water level. That should be there. And the slope can be 1:1 or 1:2. I personally feel 1:2 is better where more flood prone areas. So flood will go from side of that your dike. It will not break the dike. If it is 1:1, dike will be maybe if water pressure is there during flooding, dike will break. So there you have to think, decide depending on your area where you are working. Then for flood these prone areas, you can have efficient water management, large scale investment, drainage, inclination of drainage system, desilting, and strengthening of embankment. These are the important things for flood related, flood prone areas you must do. And then drought prone areas, for water conservation, some efforts you have to make some for water conservation, improving water use efficiency through rainwater harvesting. These are the two things you have to apply where your zone is drought prone zones. This is one I took from some source, I forgot to write there. See, you have naturally what is happening, as I told you, adaptation, that is natural phenomena, coping. Initially, when something comes, what COVID is coming, so we are doing some coping measures, some adaptation. Then automatic adaptation also comes. Some, you can say, more advanced. Those who have more knowledge, they can have that. But then third is plant adaptation, which now government is enforcing us to do, plant. That these are the things you have to do it. Without that, you cannot move that, plant adaptation. So in this climatic resilient strategy also, initially farmers, they take some steps, certainly. They also, farmers are not fool. They know what are the steps they have to take. But those steps may not be sufficient. That's why plant strategy, plant adaptation is required. And that will make your benefits, you see the graph, the benefits will be much higher. So we can sum up these strategies into this climate resilient aquaculture strategies. Short culture period, multiple stocking and harvesting. These are the two things. Short culture, then multiple stocking and multiple harvesting. Species diversification is second. Increasing pond dike height, fencing, netting around the pond. That is very much important. And pond shaping, including 3-tier step cutting in inward top slopes. That is also required. Then incorporation of tolerant horticultural crops on dikes. So you can have horticultural crops on dikes. Suppose there is loss from one crop, you can get benefit from other crop and additional income. Suppose you have this year bumper fruit there, then you have other crops there on the dikes and bumper, and fish also you get very good sale, and next year you get some loss. So 1 year you have good growth and good economic, and you have saved the money, and next year if it is loss also, those monies which you are saving from there you can run your household work. So that's how it makes your system more resilient. Then incorporation of tolerant horticultural crops on dikes, then incorporation of livestock. I'll show you some photographs. This is the work what we did in Sundarban. In one pond, we made it in such a way that dike height, and then here, none of the area is left behind. All 1 inch of the pond area, surrounding pond, every inch is utilized for some purpose. You see, I told you now, cutting, terracing, inward. This is the see, outer you have tomatoes, then center you have some large plants, fruit plants there. Then inside, inner side you have another thing. Then just see, nothing is left out. Everywhere something or other is being grown there. This is another photograph showing that everything is incorporated there. So farmers get income from many sources. This is my farm. I just wanted to show you some of the photographs. I had old photographs. If I had some new recent photographs, I would have given. See our dikes. We have pulses, rahar wahan lagaye hain. Aam ka bhi usme hai. And recently we had planted lot of bananas in inner side of the dike. Banana means itna zyada. Then lemon, then मौसमी, ये सारा चीज अभी लगाया हम लोग. मौसमी इतना बढ़िया वहाँ हो रहा है कि आप सोच नहीं सकते. तो ये 2 साल पुराना फोटो है, अभी तो और इम्प्रूव हो गया. अब देखिए कैसे. And we have now agroforestry. Trees are there. Which trees you are seeing backside? Now we have 5,000 plants, trees there. Agroforestry 5,000. Now each trees means people are ready to purchase, are ready to give price of varying from 6,000 to 6,000. So average if 4,000 also you keep 5,000 plant trees, how much within 5 years, 6 years we are able to, or 7 years, 8 years we are able to get. After 10, 15 years you grow, then you see crores of rupees you can earn from that one. This is the another. See, we have some poultry also. Goats also. Then I can conclude that it is estimated India needs to grow, or if you want to feed your population, we need to have 320 metric ton of food grains by 2025. And for that, we need to have right kind of technology and policies and adaptive action plan so that we can overcome the adverse effect of climate change. And innovative aquaculture practices and technologies can make their role in climatic mitigation and adaptation. So that is required. Then risk-driven insurance, that is very much required. Then adaptation strategies needs to be supported by the appropriate institutional framework. Whatever farmers are trying to do. So now KVKs are there. Institutional framework is required. KVKs should work to make the farmers more resilient. Universities should work, other institutions should work, and train the farmers, tell them what should be done. Strong technical and extension services to enhance the adaptive capacity of farming communities and cross-sectoral solution of the problems related to climate. All these together will make your system more resilient, and so that the effect as I told you, the adverse effect will be there, but with these strategies, you can minimize the effect and you can bounce back again, come back and remain in that. Okay. So with this, thank you all, everyone, for giving your valuable time. I know more than around 200 people were there. Many have sent me their messages. I am sorry to say many could not be accommodated in this because it had got some limited. We will try to have another this type of seminar where we can accommodate. Today only we had meeting our senior officer, Honorable Vice Chancellor, so that let us try to make system such that 200, 300, 400 people can also join this and bring experts, many experts, and conduct such type of program for whole country's benefit. And that's what we are planning in coming days. So I feel sorry for those who could not take part. Many of friends, professors.
As per रिक्वायरमेंट जो भी।
So thank you everyone. I think the stage is open for questions. Anyone having? I try to complete 45 minutes. I don't know. Maybe 5 minutes. Maybe I had to rush sometime.
क्वेश्चंस डॉक्टर साहब आपके चैट में पड़े हुए हैं, लोगों ने ऑलरेडी पूछ रखा है। इसको बंद कर दीजिए और वो देखिए जरा चैट से।
हेलो सर।
अच्छा, मेरे मोबाइल में भी आ गया होगा?
नहीं, चैट में है। अरे डॉक्टर ममता कर लेंगी कोऑर्डिनेट।
हाँ ममता जी आप बोलिए।
हाँ ममता जी रीडिंग कीजिए तो दिखाई देगा।
That how El Nino southern oscillation is affecting the fish production.
क्या है?
How El Nino southern oscillation is affecting fish production in India.
Of course, that question is not related to today's topic.
Yes, sir.
But certainly we all know that conveyor belt system. We all know that natural conveyor belt system where the water from Atlantic and it goes to Pacific and then whole goes to North Pole and from there again it sinks and come back. And when it comes to especially Peruvian side, we all know that because of this climatic change, the surface temperature or subsurface temperature of ocean is getting increased. And because of that, we have that layer, one we can say thermocline layer, that is getting broken there. And so that from northern side, the warmer water enters to the southern side, which used not to be entered. But because of that El Nino effect, it enters, and because of that, a lot of evaporation, water temperature increases, and then evaporation takes place. And then we all know that this low pressure area is created and cyclonic condition, and that leads to heavy rainfall during that region and then drought in other regions. So whenever this due to global warming and this breaks, and because of breaking of this whole system and then rise in sea water level temperature, and then that leads to whole flooding and drought. Anyhow, related to this topic, if someone can ask, that would be better.
सर ये
आप उसको ही प्रिफर करिए।
सर आप अपने स्लाइड में इसको दिखाए थे सर, इसीलिए क्वेश्चन किया था। आप स्लाइड में सर दिखाए थे एल नीनो का इफेक्ट।
हाँ वो जस्ट क्लाइमेट चेंज के बारे में हाँ थोड़ा था, ठीक। बट आज फोकस ये है कि हम फ्रेश वाटर एक्वाकल्चर सिस्टम कैसे रेजिलिएंट बना सकते हैं।
Okay sir, there is another Swagat Ghosh. He is asking for any air breathing fish. He's asking for, can you recommend any air breathing fish for aquaculture?
मैंने दिखाया स्वागत ना वो स्लाइड में।
हाँ सर आप दिखाए, लेकिन मैं पर्टिकुलरली सुंदरबन के लिए पूछ रहा हूँ। वो सर सुंदरबन में सर अगर हम लोग उधर सिंगी मागुर को इस एडवर्स कंडीशन में दे सकते हैं क्या, रेकमेंड कर सकते हैं?
नहीं कर सकते हैं। हम लोगों ने एक्चुअली ये मैं भूल गया वो स्पीसीज क्या था, मेरे को याद नहीं, उसका अलग प्रेजेंटेशन में एक्चुअली कोस्टल एरियाज का अलग प्रेजेंटेशन है उसके लिए। बट certainly we can try whatever, see which are fishes. Swagat, you have already done some work. I personally feel you try some fish species.
Yes,
wherever you are getting success, आप पहले से मत बोलिए कि यही सक्सेस होगा। Now Sundarban, my personal observation is that any species can be successful. First try, based on your trial, you can make the species there. Okay, recommend.
Yes sir. सर लास्ट 3-4 दिन पहले एक बारिश हुआ था हमारा सुंदरबन में। उसमें सर आइस वाला जो रेन होता है ना, शिलावृष्टि बोलते हैं हम लोग, वो हुआ और बहुत सारा हमारा जो जायंट प्रॉन का जो नॉपली साइज है ना, उसका जो मीन बोलते हैं वो लोग फार्मर्स, बहुत सारा उसका डेथ हुआ है। इसका मतलब कुछ वो लोग पूछ रहा था कि वो जो आइस रेन हुआ था, शिलावृष्टि हुआ था, उसके कारण उसका कुछ प्रॉब्लम आया था। ये
उसमें आप क्या कर सकते हैं उसमें? तो ये तो नेचुरल कैलामिटीज है,
एकदम एकदम।
इसमें आप
मैं भी
कुछ
बोल
नहीं
नहीं
कर
पाया,
सकते, इसीलिए बोल रहा है ना।
इससे
नहीं स्वागत जी, मेरा पूरा प्रेजेंटेशन का ये जो फोकस है कि यू मेक सिस्टम सच दैट आपको तो लॉस हो रहा है इस साल, नेक्स्ट ईयर आप ऐसा बनाएं कि नेक्स्ट टाइम आपको अच्छा प्रॉफिट हो, वो पैसा अपना बचा के रखें। ये पूरा सिस्टम को समझना होगा, रेजिलियंट सिस्टम को। एक पॉइंट नहीं है उसमें, देयर आर मेनी फैक्टर्स व्हिच वी हैव टू कंसीडर इन दैट। ओके, देयर आर मेनी अदर थिंग्स, आई जस्ट रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू एक्वाकल्चर, बट देयर आर सोशियो इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट, सोशियो साइकोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट ऑल्सो इन दैट।
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Another question from Wazid Hassan. He is working in the Jahanabad KVK. He is asking for any species for culture, sir. Asking for culture, sir.
कौन सा स्पीसीज, क्या बोला?
Sir, he asking for the candidate species for culture in Jahanabad area of Bihar.
जहानाबाद जो अब बोला मैंने, आप वही स्पीसीज मैंने कहा ना कि जो फास्ट ग्रोथ हो, जो टॉलरेंट हो एडवर्स कंडीशन में। दीज आर टू कंडीशन यू हैव टू अप्लाई। सो फास्टर ग्रोथ कौन है? अभी देखिए पंगेसियस, जहानाबाद में पंगेसियस बहुत कर रहे हैं लोग, यू कैन यूज पंगेसियस। अमूर कार्प इज फास्टर एंड आई पर्सनली फील अमंग ऑल फिश, माय ओन पर्सनल माय फार्म, मैंने पंगेसियस भी किया, अमूर कार्प भी किया, चन्ना भी किया, सब स्पीसीज किया। सो स्वागत, मैं भूल गया बोलना, चन्ना स्पीसीज यू कैन ट्राई, वी ट्राइड देयर चन्ना स्पीसीज इन आवर सुंदरबन। हाँ, दैट यू कैन। तो अभी बिजन मंडल जी ने चन्ना का ब्रीडिंग भी कराया है, यू कैन टॉक टू हिम, ही हैज सम सीड्स आल्सो अवेलेबल, यू कैन टॉक। सो व्हाट आई मीन टू से, हमारे पॉन्ड में मैंने जितने मछली ट्राई किए उसमें मेरे को जो लग रहा है फास्ट ग्रोइंग में, और जो ये कह सकते हैं कि जो रेजिलिएंट है, जो स्ट्रेस को ये कर सकता है, उसमें अमूर कार्प इज द टॉप मोस्ट एंड देन पंगेसियस। प्लीज जहानाबाद में आप इसको ट्राई करिए, दो स्पीसीज, अमूर कार्प, पंगेसियस, ये ज्यादा है। मुझे जहानाबाद से फोन आते हैं वहां से कि क्या कर रहे हैं, ये गैरिपिनियस कर रहे हैं। अरे गैरिपिनियस क्यों? आप लोग प्लीज वहाँ गैरिपिनियस किसी को करने मत दीजिए, सबका डिजीज आ रहा है, प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है। दो स्पीसीज ट्राई कर सकते हैं जहानाबाद में।
Okay, sir, there is another question from our own students. He is asking whether feed manipulation is a possible strategies for climate resilient aquaculture.
Very excellent question. Please give me his name. Actually, we did some work on feed strategies, and I'll talk on that later on because that will take time. Personally, I'll talk to him. This is very excellent question. We tried that; it was successful. I did not present that here. Any stress, see, whether it is agriculture, animal science, any stress. Our director research is here. He has also worked on stress and climate change condition. Any stress, you have to give extra energy. आप भी अगर बुखार होता है, क्या होता है, विटामिन खाते हैं, ये खाते, एक्स्ट्रा एनर्जी। तो ये जो फीड मैनिपुलेशन स्ट्रेटेजी है ना, स्पेशली स्ट्रेस कंडीशन में, दैट हेल्प फिश टू कम आउट फ्रॉम द स्ट्रेस। इट इज वेरी सक्सेसफुल मॉडल। तो कॉस्टली अफेयर, आपको बीमार होगा तो दवा लेंगे तो कॉस्टली तो पड़ेगा, बट देयर इज नो अदर वे आउट। दैट इज वन ऑफ द, बट there has not been much trial done. We did some trial in our farm, but that we could not replicate it for larger scale. But very good question. This is certainly one solution, costly solution, but that is there.
Okay, sir, there is another question from Dr. R.K. Jalaj. He is telling the Chitla demonstration in the pond of Bihar is a total failure because survivability is an issue. And even providing plenty of live feed. So there is any other possible solution?
चीतला मैं उस पर ज्यादा काम नहीं किया हूँ, बट सम पीपल आर टेलिंग दैट दे आर मेकिंग इट सक्सेसफुल। मेरे फार्म में भी मैंने नहीं किया, इसलिए मैं उस पर ज्यादा बोलना है। मैं एक्वाकल्चर का आदमी भी नहीं हूँ, जलज हिमसेल्फ इज एक्वाकल्चर मैन।
चीतला मेनली सर विद फॉरेज फीडिंग इट विल बी प्रॉफिटेबल।
हाँ, सो
फॉरेज फीडिंग
फॉरेस्ट फीड के साथ ये सर किया गया था अररिया डिस्ट्रिक्ट में 20 फार्मर्स के यहाँ, और अभी रोहतास डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक किसान ने किया सर पिछली बार ये तिलापिया और दूसरी स्पीसीज के साथ। प्रॉब्लम होता है सर फिंगरलिंग के बाद जो लास्ट स्टेज में जब नेटिंग करते हैं तो उनका हार्वेस्ट कॉस्ट कम होता है। अगर वो 3000 डालते हैं तो लास्ट में 100 पीस मिलता है, आउट ऑफ विच ओनली 5-6 आर अराउंड 4-5 kg.
That may be. So I would request others also, those who are there, all faculty, seniors, they should also give some tips, resilient strategy. आप भी कुछ बताइए, हमारा ये सुन के मत रह जाए।
ओके सर,
आपका जो तिलापिया ओपन था वो क्या केजी में था या ओपन था पॉन्ड में?
ओपन।
तिलापिया को केज में रखना पड़ेगा। अगर तिलापिया जो लाइलन केज होगा ना, उसमें अगर रहेगा तो नहीं तो वो थोड़ा छोटा सीड अगर डालेंगे आप चितला का तो तिलापिया भी खा सकता है उसको।
No, it's not about
सीड हो जाएगा तो कुछ कैनिबलिज्म हुआ है उसमें, कुछ कैनिबलिज्म हुआ है उसमें।
It means Dinotoprosis chitala is a cannibalistic animal.
लेकिन हमारा इधर सक्सेस है, चितला बहुत अच्छा सक्सेस है, हम लोग उस फॉरेस्ट फीडिंग में कर रहे हैं।
Another very good very candidate species I personally feel which I am going to try is पपदा। मैं बता रहा हूँ, मेरे को कई लोगों ने रिकमेंड किया है।
yes, sir,
और
yes.
मैं अभी उस पर वर्क कर रहा हूँ। शायद इंडिया में अभी पपदा का हैचरी नहीं है, बांग्लादेश से है, बट मैं उसमें ट्राई कर रहा हूँ एक हैचरी बनाने के लिए। तो आने वाले 1-2 साल में पपदा भी हम उसको सक्सेसफुल करके दिखाएंगे। देन आई विल टॉक अबाउट दैट।
सर, another question from Dr. A.S. Burman. He's asking what should be the pond depth for the drought prone areas, sir?
Good question. I personally feel that's what, where drought is there, pond depth can be maximum 3 feet, 4 feet maximum. Okay, maximum. And only thing is that you have to select such species which can stay in less water. Even I have seen that आपको पंगेसियस है, फिर आपको ये जो कॉमन कार्प, अमूर कार्प, ये दोनों मैंने पहले भी कहा, दे कैन स्टे, एंड ऑल्सो चना स्पीसीज। ये सब मैं अभी वियतनाम में गया, चना स्पीसीज जहाँ पर फार्मिंग हो रहा है, कल्चर हो रहा है, एकदम लो वाटर लेवल, पानी नहीं है और कम पानी में वो लोग कर रहे हैं, एंड वेरी सक्सेसफुल दे आर डूइंग। सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द स्पीसीज यू कैन ट्राई जहाँ पे वाटर लेवल कम है। बट रीजन टू रीजन वेरी करेगा। अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ सीड इज अनदर क्वेश्चन, व्हाट यू कैन डू। And now another thing I personally feel, we have done many stress trials and I have seen that many species which we feel that it may not be able to adapt, but under stress condition with some strategy, though their growth may be reduced, but they will survive and stay there. Natural adaptation also comes after some time.
Okay, sir. There is another question from Uday Narayan Das. He's telling, sir, early maturation early gonadal maturation is caused the poor somatic growth in the fishes. This may be due to the prolonged breeding season. So what would be the possible strategies for that, sir? The early gonadal maturation that leads to the
Yeah. This is happening, natural happening. There is no, you cannot do much that, but some condition in pond you can, if it is in pond, what you can do, aeration, you can do more and more aeration, water exchange. I forgot to mention that, these two things. I see, when we brought Pangasius in Bihar, we were the first people to bring Pangasius in Bihar. And that time, many people said that in winter it will not survive. And even government people also, they said that in Bihar, Pangasius may not be successful in winter. And we tried in our ponds. What the strategies we took, I just want to mention you here. 2 strategies. One is your water level should be higher in winter, and then water exchange, more and more water exchange. With these 2 strategies, we could make the Pangasius survive in winter also, where 4-5 degrees Celsius temperature. So what I personally feel, if you want to little bit make it more resilient, that and normal fecundity or spawning and all these things, then these 2 strategies can be, because mainly what is happening now, your water quality parameter, mainly temperature, that affects. So through water exchange, temperature can be maintained. Okay, and aeration also helps in that. These two strategies.
Okay, sir. There is Dr. Farukjeet Singh. He wants head-to-head interaction with you. He didn't drop his question in the chat, so he wanted to talk directly with you. So he's
now or later on.
now.
Okay, Prabjeet, आप पूछो भाई. Welcome, Prabjeet. पूछो.
Good evening from Punjab, sir. First, very nice presentation. Thank you, sir, for your valuable talk. I have a few questions, sir. First question is that, like you talked about various climate resilient models, strategies. My question is, sir, that do we have any we have any models? Sometimes what happens that a change remains unnoticed and reaches a point when it is irrevocable. You can't revoke that change at a certain date. So do we have ready models which makes us to understand that a climate change is impacting our inland water systems or even natural water systems? So don't you think that we should come up with certain models or indicators or something like that?
Yeah, no, excellent question you have asked. There are now models being developed based on there are experts in that. In NICRA project, some people were given this project for doing such work. You'll have to find out. But I have seen some work. We also started doing, but we could not do it because this is long term and large number of data required for developing a model. Okay. So what we can do it. Suppose in certain areas, zones, you have last 10 years or maybe 5 years continuous data, temperature, rainfall, and other water this level data. So these 3-4 data and other water quality parameter, which you feel that it is affecting because of it is getting affected due to climatic change, like pH and other. So these 4 or 5 parameters you fit in a model and develop a predictive model. That coming years, these are the things going to happen. And so from beginning, you take the strategy that in these zones of Punjab, in this zone of Bihar, with this model, we are able to predict that in coming days, these are the things going to happen in this zone. So what should be a strategy? And accordingly, institution, government agency and KVK should be found that are the things going to come in coming years. Model, predictive model has shown, and then this someone has to work on that. Very good. I think this is the line someone should work. आप काम करिए प्रभजीत जी इसमें.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question before just one question. Like you were telling, you told about many hardy species. I have a question regarding tilapia. So if we talk about gift tilapia, even the agencies which are providing the seed of gift tilapia, they are not claiming it to be 99%. They say it's 99% mono-6 and 1% they are not sure about it. If we introduce it in the system, then it somehow reach our natural riverine system. Don't you think it's going to play a havoc in our systems, like what has been done by some of the species? See, if you talk about Gary Pinus now, it's a big challenge for the country, although it's a hardy species, but due to its cannibalism and predatory cannibalism nature, it's a big challenge for the country. So, sir, do you think tilapia
this is the issue? ओपन वाटर में नहीं करना है, ऑलरेडी आ गया है. आप जाइए, सैनी जी बैठे हैं राजस्थान में, सभी वाटर बॉडीज में तिलापिया आ गया है. आज से नहीं, जब मैं पीएचडी कर रहा था उसी टाइम आ गया था. तो लेकिन अभी क्या है जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, इसीलिए यू हैव टू परचेज फ्रॉम ऑलरेडी यू कैन से द हैचरीज व्हिच आर सर्टिफाइड हैचरीज. ओके, एंड स्पेशली फॉर दैट. हाँ, आपको मालूम है. तो वहां से आप जो आरसीए का वहां पर जो है वहां से लीजिए, जो ये है कहाँ से और मिल रहा है. सो फ्रॉम देयर व्हिच इज सर्टिफाइड, इफ यू टेक, डोंट परचेज फ्रॉम हियर एंड देयर. ओके,
thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was a very nice presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So there is another question from Dr. S. Khogen Singh. He's asking, sir, in the midst of the climate induced scenario, should we go for the ecological sustainable mode, or should we go for the profit oriented mode?
No, these are, we have to have some middle path. You cannot go for this one, but what we have talked today is all sustainable mode. When I talk about alternative species, I don't say that you bring such a species which adversely affects our native species. Whatever I have said, whether it is Amur carp or it is Pangasius or now Jayanti Rohu, I personally feel is also very good, or Chana species. These are all compatible with our native species. So what I feel, certainly sustainability is one of the things we have to primary concern. As don't that's what COVID is coming. No, I told you in beginning. People are agreed to earn more and more and utilize the whole our resources naturally. So this has we have led and we have come to this level. So certainly priority focus is sustainability. But in that sustainability, what best we can do? Simply traditional also we should not. IMC is good, but what alternative we can bring? And so zone to zone it will vary. One slide I could not give it, maybe some other presentation. I have decided where zones are like this, what are the species? When zones having this condition, what are the species? Zones having these conditions, what are the species? So that also one slide I forgot, maybe somewhere I missed it. So that way you can try, certainly. But certainly some new species with compatible with the traditional system has to be sustainable.
Okay, sir. So there is another question from Dr. Hassan. He's asking, have you developed the climate adaptive integrated fish farm model in the Bihar?
या मैंने आपको दिखाया ना फोटो, मेरा अपना फार्म का फोटो दिखाया मैंने, उसमें एनिमल भी है कंपोनेंट और हॉर्टिकल्चर है. मैं जो आपको ये दिखाया वहाँ पे रहर का पेड़, वो रहर से हम लोग करीब 1.5 लाख रुपए लाए. आपको बोला मौसमी हमारे यहाँ, आप आइए मौसमी सीजन में जितना ले जा सकते हैं इतना. मौसमी बनाना इतना बढ़िया हो रहा है. पेड़ आपको एग्रो फॉरेस्ट की बोला 5000 पेड़ है अभी, एवरेज 4000 रुपए उसका रेट है. आप जोड़ लीजिए कितना हो गया. तो दिस ऑल आर इंटीग्रेटेड मॉडल.
जी सर.
Okay, sir, this was all about the questions we have for today's session. So if anyone have more question, please drop in the chat box. Otherwise, we will conclude the session today.
हाँ, बाद में भी अभी 1 दिन तक ये खुला रहेगा. आप तो हमारा WhatsApp ग्रुप 1 दिन खुले रहने दीजिए. Anyone having any question can put in that WhatsApp group also. Tomorrow evening you close that WhatsApp group.
Okay, so there one more question. Actually, name is not clear. There's one person, he is asking that what is your stand about shifting of marginal fish farmer from traditional system to biofloc based fish farming system, whether it is sustainable one or not?
Complete shifting is not sustainable. I would not recommend. Many people are coming to me, sir, I want to do, please organize this, that, so many things. But I personally feel that at this juncture, especially small farmers, those do not have appetite of risk taking. Now see those who have taken now COVID condition, what their fate is there. So these are the things you have to understand. Okay, because 24 hours power supply is required. Then many other inputs, always your inputs have to be ready there. If any break in chain is there, then how you can sustain that? So those who are capable can do it. But those who do not have capacity and not having the whole supply chain system made available sustainably, I personally feel it should be, let us watch for another few months or maybe 1 year, 2 years, then go for it, especially marginal. Those who have capacity can go, no problem.
Okay, so there is one question from the student from Uttaranchal University. He's asking, sir, what are the species favorable for the Himalayan region? It's cold water fishes actually he's asking for.
इसके बारे में जानकारी नहीं है. इसलिए मुझे बहुत लोग कश्मीर से इसमें आना चाह रहे थे and उत्तराखंड से another. So I told them, please excuse, this whole presentation may not be useful for you. और मुझे भी इसका बहुत जानकारी नहीं है, तो maybe I will inquire from someone and get you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I answer his queries if?
Someone can answer.
What is his question? Is he asking the climate resilient aquaculture species, cold water aquaculture species, or he?
Yeah.
He's asking species.
Resilient aquaculture species for cold water region or Himalayan region.
Climate resilient aquaculture species.
Yes.
See, if we talk about, I think for already, if we talk about the Himalayan Uttarakhand region, I had my PhD from that area and visited most of the places. For that, only viable species which we can go is, as the temperature is again a constant. So common carp is one of the most viable species because constraint in those areas. So, and now DCFR Bhimtal, they are working on certain. They have even standardized the Mahashis, breeding of Mahashi, and they are working on Schizothrix. But some of our seniors, which are in extension department, their culture is predominantly only mostly the common carp, which is the most, and that too at some places the mirror carp species. Even if we talk about our colder places like J&K, that is one of the most hardy species, which is even a species.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Prabhjit.
So now I would like to say thank you to Raman sir for having such a informative lecture, and thank you to all the participants for joining us. Now I would like to hand over the mic to our Director Research, Dr. Ravin Kumar sir. Sir, please.
You can propose a vote of thanks.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Dean is there, Dr. Sani?
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Sani sir is there?
Yes,
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, sir.
You asked him to say something?
Dr. Sani sir कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
सर यहीं पे
I would like to request sir, please speak.
Gathering. It's a good gathering.
Participation.
Sir, please.
प्लान कीजिए क्या?
Dr. V.P. Sani is Dean College of Fisheries, Kishanganj, and he was professor there in Udaipur, Rajasthan, Maharana Pratap University of Agriculture and Technology, and recently he has joined as Dean here, and he has taken a lot of steps to see that College of Fisheries, Kishanganj grows in faster way. So, and many more new things, innovative ideas he is implementing. And in coming days, we'll see that this college, with all your support and wishes, becomes one of the best colleges of the country in coming days under his leadership. So, Dr. Sani, please. क्या हुआ सनी जी? Mic.
Some connectivity.
Kishanganj ka. But your connectivity is good.
Sir, on behalf of sir, hello sir. On behalf of our participants, I'm Swagat.
Dasal का साउंड इशू आ रहा है मेरे ख्याल डॉक्टर सैनी का ना, आई थिंक. दासल आ रही है आवाज?
Yes.
नहीं, डॉक्टर सैनी को आवाज आ रही है? नहीं.
Okay, I'll see. Sir, will join.
चलिए डॉक्टर ममता, you propose your thanks. We'll convey the wishes of Dr. Sani to all our participants. Just you can pass on all best wishes on behalf of the Dean also. Please go ahead, Dr. Mamta.
Okay, sir. Now I would like to say thank you to our speaker for such a delightful talk. Thank you very much, sir. And because of your contact, there was lots of messages to me